All right, I hope you can hear me. Thank you very much for joining. I hope you're all still awake. Looking forward to a presentation here about the future of staking. Exciting topic. My name is Mirko. I'm the co-founder of stakeandwards.com. I got very excited about staking like a few years back because it's basically a way how anyone can participate in creating decentralized systems like with a very small capital amount and like really helping to secure these systems, which I think is absolutely fascinating and really amazing. And I always love to see take a little bit of a step back, look into what happened, how did proof of stake happen, and where is the proof of stake and staking industry basically going into. I'm co-founder of stakeandwards.com. We are one of the largest research platforms and staking platforms. You can stake into over 10 different assets from our website into a lot of different providers. We have an API that's used by 21 Shares and Grayscale and so on. We have a certification program for staking providers with over 80 partners on the board. It's basically like an industry standard for staking provider certification. We are also organizer of the largest staking-related conference in the world, the Staking Summit. The next one is going to be in Dubai in April. And at the same time, we also help to onboard institutions into staking. We have an institutional product, StakingWards Prime. We basically do strategy sessions with large token holders to help them optimize their staking portfolio. We're also founding member of the Hyperlooping Collective on Hyperliquid. It's basically a standard for creating looping products on Hyperliquid, but then also subsequently we launch it on other chains, including Ethereum. I just want to kind of paint the picture for staking overall. Currently, it's around a $300 billion industry in terms of staking market cap, the capital that is being staked. What's kind of obviously Ethereum is the biggest one. They have around $75 billion staked. Interestingly, Solana has higher revenue in terms of annual rewards generated than Ethereum. Because the reward rate is just higher. Currently, it sits at $5 billion annual rewards. On Ethereum, it's around $3.3 billion annual rewards. And yeah, it's kind of fascinating. The industry, the staking industry grew from I think 90 billion 1.5 years ago to around 300 billion now. I think it will grow much further, probably 10x from here until 2030. So it's also it's a huge industry that keeps growing and is helping to make the blockchain systems resilient and decentralized and secure, basically, with a lot of economic security. If we look at kind of the history of proof of stake, everything started in 2013 with Peercoin, was one of the, I think even earlier, 2012 probably, one of the first proof of stake coins. And then it went into different chains. It was in, I think, 2014 or 2015 when Vitalik talked first about moving Ethereum to proof of stake. Obviously, that took quite a few years until it actually happened. And then I think it was in 2018, 2019 when we had the first delegated proof stake networks with Tethos, Cosmos, and then Polkadot came out. And then we had the Ethereum beacon chain. 1.5 years later, the Ethereum merge. This is when the biggest, the second biggest blockchain in the world also moved to proof of stake. I think the trend will continue. Now I think we have most of the biggest blockchains in the world are all based on proof of stake, and even some old chains, for example IOTA, they also had another consensus. They're also moving to proof of stake now. So everything is going in that direction. I think there's even a possibility for Bitcoin to move to proof of stake, which is maybe going to take 20 years or longer. But it's definitely a possibility. And yeah, interestingly, now we are kind of in a phase of modularization of staking. We have more shared security protocols and marketplaces and so on. So there's a lot happening in that space, and I think it will continue to grow. I guess the next phase will be the expansion, really tapping into new use cases for proof of stake and staking. And the key challenges that I see for proof of stake for the next 5 years, basically unlocking staking's full potential. I think there's still a lot to be unlocked. Second is like making infra more efficient while remaining resilient. I think we see it that like everyone wants like very high performance, and one of the key challenges is how can we deliver very high performance while maintaining decentralization and resilience of these systems, because that's what it's all about, right? Third key challenge, I think, is unlocking universal access, making all of these things more accessible for everyone to participate. I think it's mainly going to happen via abstraction. So I just want to break down these three key challenges during the presentation. First one is like unlocking staking's full potential. It's all about like, yeah, creating more use cases for proof of stake and staking. So yeah, the question is like, what will staking be used for? Either there's like no use case at all, or it's like, yeah, kind of a very diverse use cases into like, yeah, online collaboration and so on. And currently, I guess we are somewhere in the middle. We use it for like proof of stake consensus. There's already ways, for example, Aave, they're using staking mechanism to do the insurance and so on. My prediction is like it will be way, way more diverse. And we will tap into like digital labor markets overall. In the end, it's like staking, I think, can enable to secure any type of like digital labor relationship. I think it can secure intents, agents, insurance, governance and voting, content moderation. There are so many different use cases that can use yeah, capital and guarantees online. And I think this is definitely like a path that we will go on. Yeah, I think Ethereum can lead the global innovation here because it has a very like unique and composable DeFi and staking ecosystem. So yeah, I think it's all about like generalized labor markets, much more than just blockchain validation. That's where we are today. More kind of sophisticated is like general insurance, and then I think the intense use case is very huge. Basically, staking can like guarantee any labor relationship, even intense, where you basically yeah, guarantee a certain outcome, and then anyone could like stake on that outcome in order so for someone to give someone the guarantee that this is actually going to be completed work. So yeah, I think staking and intents is like it's a perfect match in heaven. You can think about like probably a very pragmatic use case for intents is like you give an agent like a task like buy me a train ticket or like a flight ticket to Denver for like under $1,000, and then the agent or like yeah, the agent could stake on that outcome, so it gives you the guarantee, hey, it's actually going to happen. The agent can decide what's the likelihood. If it's not like if he's not able to fulfill this goal of buying the flight ticket under $1,000 to Denver, he's going to get slashed. And if he does fulfill it, he's going to get a reward. So you, as a user, can basically have a guarantee that you're going to get a flight ticket under $1,000 from, for example, an AI agent. And this can go like obviously way, way further. You can think about like yeah, crazy use cases like asking an agent to give you like or like bring you a green frog from the rainforest or something like this. For a certain price, and then the agent could stake on it. So it gives you like that guarantees, and I think it's a really interesting use case. Furthermore, I think yeah, this is kind of how we make like the infra. Oh yeah, this is also about unlocking the full potential. I think what we see right now in like shared security protocols, it's mostly about security. The problem is like security is actually very cheap. It's very easy to like unlock like the supply side of the shared security protocols, but there's still like very little demand. So yeah, this is relatively low. People are very comfortable staking for a relatively low yield. But what protocols actually want, they don't want security because in the end everyone is launching their own token anyway. Actually everyone wants liquidity. All the protocols, and that's what's happening right now with liquidity protocols. It's really like they're incentivizing liquidity to come into their networks, and they're willing to pay for it in terms of tokens. So I think if like the restaking protocols today, like Eigenlayer, Symbiotic, and so on, should focus way more on like shared liquidity, because this is what's actually needed right now, like what's demanded right now from a lot of networks and services. And it can really help to bootstrap like entire ecosystems. We see it with Parachain, proof of liquidity, and also the Cosmos hub is moving more into like being a shared liquidity hub and so on. And I think Ethereum also should look into how to not just like kind of repurpose and recycle security and economic security like ETH, but also liquidity, how to make these tokens accessible to different DeFi apps and so on. Yeah, the second challenge is obviously making infra more efficient while remaining resilient. There's a lot of things to it. First, we can look into like who will and should run validators. On one side, it's like either like pure kind of institutions. On the other side, it's like everyone and their mom stakes on a retail smartphone. Currently, we are probably here. There's a few large validators. And I think my prediction is like it will go way more into like everyone being able to stake. Maybe they can run a validator on their router in their computer at home. I think this will be a very common thing. Or like you can even like run it in your Tesla with Starlink. We already see that as well. So I think these things will become much more accessible. And I know also Ethereum is pushing very hard into that vision, which is great because I think in the end like the most decentralized chain will win. So we have to look into like how can we remain entirely decentralized and resilient, because if there's a lot of financial applications being deployed on a blockchain, it has to be a very resilient and decentralized ecosystem. I think Ethereum has like a very unique value proposition here with their staking economics as well, and can be seen as a clear leader in terms of decentralization, which really sets us apart, and the accessibility will continue. Already there's a lot of home staking on Ethereum, which is not seen on any other chains. And that trend will continue. On the other hand, blockchain infra will be like aggressively streamlined, I think. It's all about like streamlining like better set of rules to like incentivize performant ecosystems, decentralization, and so on. I think things like liquid staking, for example, we see is a very common use case, will probably internalized in the protocol. And the bad news here is like the very simple basic infrastructure provision is like relatively cheap, right? It's kind of commoditized, and it will be kind of a race to the bottom there. Good news is here like infrastructure providers can really differentiate like by going into different ecosystems and by creating more value in like specialized services, creating like high performance validators and really doing more stuff on like decentralization, scalability, and security. So I think, we'll talk about this in a bit, but we also need to find ways to incentivize, for example, decentralization way more, and incentivize home staking. The yield will go down. I think, obviously there will be a lot of other yield opportunities according to different risk profiles, but the general inflation rate of blockchains, I think right now, there's a lot of like inefficiencies in the market, and a lot of blockchains are totally overpaying. There will probably be like arbitrage opportunities for insiders if they know like what's the actual and the perceived risk, because right now like I guess the perceived risk of like running a validator is still way higher than the actual risk of slashing. So right now it's kind of an arbitrage trade, but in the end this will become way more efficient. Same with like MEV. I think MEV is just like it's very value extracting from the users. I think that like protocols must find ways to eliminate MEV from. Obviously, it's always like a cat and mouse thing, but in the end, I think all the protocols will find ways to eliminate MEV. With like private mempools and so on. It's just like, it doesn't make sense to expose your users. Like it just creates a bad UX. And protocols obviously don't want that. Right now it's a big opportunity, but I think the opportunity will die out as these systems become more efficient. I think, everyone like all the blockchain space need to find more ways of like really creating incentives for decentralization. Currently, we don't see like if you run a home staker, you own the same rewards like running a professional staker. I don't think it should be that way. We must find ways to create like, and I don't think that this should be done with slashing, like the stick approach. I think it should be done with the rewarding approach, with the carrots. Really finding ways how can like someone that's running a validator from home and really contributing to the resilience of the network, how can they earn more? So I think there should be way more research going into that direction. Obviously, like when we talk about like the space being more streamlined, there's a lot of M&A happening already in staking. It all started like a few years back already when Coinbase acquired Bison Trails, and we saw a lot of acquisitions also in the last year. Bitwise acquiring a Testant, the staking provider. Nansen acquired Stake with us, Alchemy acquired Beaver Labs, and so on. And I think this trend is going to continue a lot. I think in the end, all the banks, all the custodians will want to have their own staking service. So they're either going to like acquire someone or they're going to like build it themselves. And probably like there will just be like one big staking provider like per country. Yeah, so definitely there's going to be a lot of M&A happening, maybe even across chains. Obviously, like a lot of chains also, like there have already been mergers across chains in the AI space, and maybe this could also happen in like the generalized L1 space. I think ZK will help to streamline proof of stake even more. There's like already experiments where you can like with a ZK proof move from one L2 to another L2 without even settling on the L1, which eliminates the purpose of having an L1 in the first place. So I think also like the settlement will become way more not that important actually if we have ZK. So it will continue to streamline the POS. Also, like I think a lot of proof of stake systems, they're just going to default to like becoming more and more proof of authority. We see this is a very it's a big trend already that like the biggest providers are always the one with the best brand, the best reputation, and so on. So it's not about like they have the most resilient validator or something. It's about having the best brand. And this is a trend I think that will continue, and probably also the capital that makes the capital even cheaper, right? Because the authority and like the reputation is contributing a lot on that side, much more than actually the capital at stake. It's more the reputation at stake. Another point talking about efficiency. I think Bitcoin staking has the potential to really also streamline the whole industry. I don't think this is right now, but like over the next few years, I think Bitcoin will play a much bigger role in terms of like providing economic security for the crypto space. It's just the biggest asset if we compare the different collaterals, BTC, ETH, and USDC. I think networks and services, everything will always default to the most convenient asset with the highest market value. Currently, this is actually ETH because it's way more convenient. All the networks and services are built on Ethereum, so like native BTC is not really accessible to like these networks. There's no trustless bridge from Bitcoin to Ethereum. But I think as these things continue to be developed on Bitcoin, Bitcoin will become a much more important role on that. If we look at it, BTC is like the biggest asset right now, but it's not very convenient to use. And then Ethereum is like is bigger and is obviously also way more convenient. But I think as BTC becomes more convenient to use for any decentralized service, this is really gonna increase over the next few years. The last point, the last biggest challenge that I see is like unlocking growth via abstraction. I think the whole space staking is going to move way more into like structured products. If we how will staking products look like? Either it's like everyone is staking pure staking, or like it's staking is entirely absorbed in like other financial products. Currently, we are probably here, maybe a little bit more on the right. There have been previous attempts from like Kraken, for example, to offer staking, but this has been shut down. Now they're revisiting it, obviously, with like a different stance on crypto right now in the US. So I think it's going way more in that direction. I think my prediction is going to be like very close to being entirely absorbed from financial products. We see that already. I mean, most users, they interact with staking from like just exchanges and so on. They have earn programs, and like the largest custodians like BitGo, they're just going to offer like yield products. And the users, they actually don't care if it's staked, if it's lent or whatever. They just have a certain risk profile and they want to earn a certain target yield. So in the end, like staking is not be very user facing, I think. We also at Staking is going in that direction, abstracting the staking. We have a product, Looped Hype, which is basically an automated looping trade, which also abstract away the staking. And I think this trend is just going to continue over the next 2 years. Let's unlock the full potential of staking together. I think it's a very exciting space. There's still a lot happening. There will be a lot to come. And yeah, very excited for it. Thank you very much.